Right. Good afternoon, everybody. I think we are just about there. So I'm going to move to screen share mode. You don't want to look at my ugly mug through the course of this presentation, I am sure. So welcome to this session called Achieve Success Through Business Networking. I'd like to start off presentation, if I may, with a statement. Some of you might think it's a bit of a controversial statement. Some of you might think it's just a bold statement. For me, in the position I'm in as a networking skills coach, it's a very painful statement. And that statement is for the majority of people, not just for one or two here and there, but for the vast majority of people, business networking doesn't work. Yes, you heard me right. Business networking does not work. They do not get the rewards from networking that they deserve. They do not get the rewards from networking that's possible, because I do see people who get some fabulous stuff from business networking. But for the majority of people, we're just kind of bumbling along, accepting what we get and assuming that that's it and that's going to be okay. So in today's session, what I'm hoping to do is, if you find yourself in that position where you're not getting what you wanted from business networking, then hopefully we can address a few of the challenges that face down the way. Some of them you might or might not be aware of yet, and we can try and fix them and make your networking a wonderful place for you to be. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Chris Edmondson. I am the network skills coach for Network B2B, and I've also got my own company called Be a Great Speaker. We help people to communicate more effectively. I'm also, one of the many hats I wear is I'm part of the events team here as well. Boy, am I a talented kind of guy or not. So I'm not really. For those of you who have seen me before, welcome back again. You might have noticed my disguise. I've got lockdown beard for the time being, but I'm sure you can kind of see through that. It's still the same person underneath, like it or not. So let's look at the challenge. Oh, no, before we start, sessions about half an hour, 45 minutes max. Chance to ask some questions at the end. So if you ask a question partway through, stick it in the discuss tab. If you look over on the right-hand side of your screen, there's a set of tabs there. One says discuss. Stick your questions in there if you don't mind. I'll get to them at the end because there's no chance I'll see them partway through the presentation. So we should have enough time at the end to cover off any of those. So if you want to put something in there, ask a question, that's great. If you want to be controversial and disagree with something I say, that's also great. Let's have a debate about that. But please put them in the discuss tab and we'll get them at the end. So, where are we going to go to? So let's talk about this networking thing does not work. Why doesn't it work? Well, I guess there's a number of reasons I see on a regular basis as I visit groups throughout the UK as to why they don't work. The first one is nobody's got a plan. So planning is the first thing we're going to cover. Second one is no preparation. Yes, this does my head in, and yes, this is going to be a bit of a rant when I talk about preparation. Third one is ineffective 60 seconds. So your 60 seconds doesn't achieve what you hoped it should achieve, or perhaps you don't know what it should have achieved. We'll cover both of those today. Next one is few or no referrals. So people who go to networking and they just don't get the volume of referrals that they hope that they will get. Next one is no follow-up. No follow-up is people think that networking takes place in the room and it doesn't, it takes place out of the room. So they are my 5 challenges for achieving a great networking. Those are things we're going to go through in a bit more detail today. So let's kick off at the start. It's a very good place to start, apparently, with no plan. First question is, when you go to networking, what do you want to achieve? So I ask this question of people at networking groups, and tends to be the answer I get is a bit of a wishy-washy. I want to get more business. I want to increase my client base. I want to build my network. Well, all those are fairly okay, fairly well and good, but they're not very specific. And we need to set some goals and targets for our networking like we do for any other business activity, because without goals and targets, then potentially we're just kind of drifting, and anywhere we get to may well be enough. There's lots of quotations out there on Tinternet and everywhere else about goals. I like this particular one because it's from Pablo Picasso, showing my artistic side here. So this one says that you should fervently believe in what you're setting for the goal, and you should vigorously act upon that goal. I think that's really appropriate for networking, because often we set goals, we set targets, and we don't really buy into them properly. And particularly, as far as networking is concerned, we don't vigorously act on them and make sure that we really put the effort and stuff into achieving stuff with them. Yeah, so I think that's a great one. However, it's still quite a challenge on understanding what to do in terms of goals. So as a sales technique, I like to use the working backwards thing. And it doesn't mean to say you have to walk backwards into the room and sit the wrong way around on the chair. No. What we start off with is the end point, what we want to achieve through networking, and work backwards to see where we get to see where we should actually start and what we need to do. So let me start off with this, an example. The numbers on here are just kind of random numbers. I know that people are doing lots more than this through networking, but it's just kind of a sensible-ish target, I think, for most of us to do it. So we start off at the very top, which is, what's your goal? What's your financial target that you want to set to go into networking? And I put it down here for 20k. So by going to a networking group for a year, I want to achieve 20k's worth of orders. And I know that could be massively high for some of you, it could be massively low. I know people who get lots more than that out of networking, but let's just take it as an example. So 20k of orders is what I want to achieve. That's what my goal is. That's what we're going to get out at the end. So average order for what I do, the sort of business that I get from networking, is, say, about £2,000. Makes the maths nice and easy. So we need to get 10 orders from networking to achieve our 20k goal. And yeah, they're all going to be a bit afloat here and there, but 10 orders is about what we go to. So what's my conversion rate? So when I get a referral from networking, how frequently do I actually convert that into a 2k order? Well, normally speaking, I would say if I do about 50%, that's not a bad average for me. Remember, a referral is a warm introduction. It might not be that you get something here and now, but it might be building for the future. So essentially, if I look to convert 20, that means 50% rather, that means I get 20 referrals. So I need 20 solid referrals that I can convert. What's my referral request rate? Well, I don't always get a referral every time I ask for referrals. And yes, you do need to ask for referrals. We'll come to that later on in the presentation. But if I say that I get 1 in 4, so for every 4 referrals I ask for, I'm going to get 1 back. That means I need to ask for a total of 80 referrals. If I go and ask for 2 referrals at every single meeting, it's probably a bit greedy asking for more than that. I need to attend 40 meetings per year to get my 20k of orders out of it. And okay, I'm not guaranteeing that that's going to take place. I'm not guaranteeing that by doing that, I'm definitely going to get it. But what that gives me is a great framework to plan around. So it gives me a great framework to work towards. So if I get a quarter into the year, I can look at it and say, how many referrals have I asked for? How many referrals have I actually got then? Am I on target? Do I need to change things? Do I need to move it around? Am I asking for the wrong things? Am I in the wrong group? Am I not educating the people properly enough? At least it gives me something to go at to make sure that I'm on tack, because I don't want to get to the end of the year and then go, oh yeah, I've got a 20k target. Oh, I haven't achieved that, have I? Oh, I wish I'd thought about that a bit earlier. Believe me, in a networking organization, we do get people who say that at the end of their year, oh, it didn't really work out for me. I didn't really do anything about it. No. So please, put a plan in place. If you want to talk to me offline about a networking plan, then really happy to do that. It's something that I coach people on all the time. But you need to have a plan in place to make sure that you've got something to aim for and you know which direction you are heading in. That's easy. Yeah, nice and simple and straightforward. So let's go to the next phase then. The next phase is preparation. I did say there might be some opportunities to rant in this particular presentation. This is one of those opportunities. Would you go to a business meeting? So let's say you're lining up a meeting with a potential new client, or in fact, you're going to do a review meeting with an existing client. Would you go to that particular meeting without any preparation? Would you sit around the table with your new potential client and go, so what we're going to talk about today then? I really thought about it, so I'm not really sure what we're going to cover. No, you wouldn't. No, please tell me you wouldn't. You wouldn't, would you? You would put some preparation into it. You'd put a bit of research in. You'd know what you're going to talk about. You'd have an agenda list of things you want to cover. You'd do all of those things. So why Do people go to networking meetings? I see them every single flipping week. When the first time they think about what they're going to say is when they're just about to start their 60 seconds. Remember when we used to go to face-to-face networking before all this COVID malarkey? Just as they're halfway through standing up from their chair, they go, ooh, perhaps I should have thought about what I'm going to say now. And if they don't do any preparation, they come out with the same old flipping waffle that they do week on week on week. Please, I beg you, put some preparation into your networking. Go to your meetings planned. Make sure that you've got an objective of what you want to achieve and you know how to achieve it and you know how to go about it. And I know some of you now say, no, that's all well and good, but tell us how to do that. We shall in the next 2 sections. So the first one is 60 seconds. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I see some challenges with 60 seconds. I see some challenges on a very regular basis. 60 seconds are not rocket science. No networking is rocket science. That's why they let me do it. It's pretty easy and straightforward most of the time. So here's the 2 things that I get. The first one is we try and cover our entire business in 60 seconds. And you can't. I don't care what your business is. I don't care how simple and straightforward you think your business is. For the rest of us, it's not that simple. It's too complicated. You cannot cover your entire business in 60 seconds. Just not possible. So please stop trying to do it. And then what we do after that is, having covered our entire business, we make this assumption that everybody knows what we do. And they don't. You're not giving them anything like the breadth and depth of what your business is capable of doing. You're not giving them anything like enough detail. What most people tend to do is they deliver the same 60-second pitch week in, week out. Hello, we do this and we do that. It's the same stuff. You're putting the people to sleep. There are people in the audience, you can hear them going because they're just not paying attention. If you deliver the same pitch week after week after week, they heard it last week, and they heard it the week before, and they heard it the week before that. Why should they pay any attention if you keep saying to them the same thing? So please, put some variety. Your 60 seconds should be different every single week, and it should cover one specific, very specific element of your business, not a general. And I know some of you now thinking, yeah, but we get visitors. We get visitors in our group. If I just cover one specific thing, Chris, they're not going to get the rest of the stuff that I do. They're not going to flipping get it if you try and do it in 60 seconds. Believe me, they are not. So please stop doing that. Visitors are probably not going to buy off you anyway. You need to focus on the people who come on a regular basis. Bit of a rant there. So please, first of all, stop telling people what you do. This is kind of a step change that we've started doing recently with networking, because what tends to happen at networking is you go to networking and the network chairs say, okay, this is 60-second round. This is your opportunity to tell the rest of the group, tell the people in the room what it is you do. And I get that, and there's a value in terms of doing that. The problem with that, though, is it doesn't help converting into referrals. So we've made this step change of stopping telling people what you do and starting telling people why you actually do it. And I don't mean why you do it in terms of why did you get into business in the first place. So why are you in that particular job doing that particular thing? What I mean is, why do your customers buy stuff off you? Why don't they buy it from somebody else? Why don't they just do it themselves? Why don't they just not bother? Why do they buy specific products and services off you? Because as soon as you start to tell us why people buy stuff off you, Jason covered this Jason Year will cover this in the earlier session. As soon as you start to tell us why people buy stuff off you, so the pain that they are addressing by buying stuff off you, then we can convert that into a referral opportunity. If you just say what you do, then potentially that's much harder for us then to look about why people would buy it. So for me as a trainer, I could say, I do training in this and training in that. That's all well and good. But how do the rest of the people in the room know who needs that training? They don't. So I need to tell people why people buy stuff off me. And the way that we do that is nice and simple and straightforward. Some of you may have seen this before. This is Chris's easy 5-step process to 60 seconds. There are other ways of doing 60 seconds. This is not the only way, but I know that this works because I use it myself, because I've taught it to lots of people. I go to lots of groups where I see this done really effectively. I'm going to skim through because time is going to be against us if I don't. So 5 steps to it, nice and easy. First one is bold opening. Most people start off their 60 seconds with, "Hello, my name is Chris. I'm from Be a Great Speaker. We help people with their communication skills and we've been in business for this, blah, 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 blah." It's not very exciting, particularly if you've got a room full of people. Imagine this morning, we had 100 people plus at networking. If you listen to 160-second pitches and every single one of them started off by saying, "Hello, my name's this," and you're going to be asleep. It's mind-numbing, that is. So we use a technique called pattern interrupt. Pattern interrupt is whacking them with something that's going to grab their attention. Something that gets a bit of intrigue, something that gets a bit of curiosity going. I use statistics a lot, so 95% of people are not cool, calm, confident speakers. You might use a famous quotation. Dale Carnegie said that a speaker who is as cool as a cucumber is likely to be about as exciting as a cucumber. I don't care what you use for a pattern intro, but please stop starting your 60-second presentation with, "Hello, my name is Chris." I know your name isn't Chris, mine is. Yeah. That's where you come into the second bit. So the second bit is the introduction. Introduction is short, it's sharp, it's concise, it's snappy. My introduction is, "My name is Chris Edmondson." I'll use the repeat on the name while people tune into what I'm saying. I run a company called Be a Great Speaker. We help people to communicate more effectively. It's a headline, top-down shot. It's easy to remember. You know what industry I'm in now. That's it. That's my introduction, been and gone and done. That's all I want to do for that introduction, because I want to take the majority of my 60 seconds on this fella in the middle here, the story. We call it a credibility story. It's where you tell people about how you've helped a client. So it's a classic pain story. If any of you are in the sales, pain story has got three different phases. So a client came to me in pain. They were suffering. They got a problem. They got a challenge. Whoa, boy, did it hurt. That's phase number one. Phase number two is we sat down with them. We got to understand the problem. We worked out what we could do about it. We did this. We implemented that. We provided this service, whatever. That's the solution phase, phase two. Phase three, happy, shiny, smiley face from client. Now going out, no pain, no problems. World is good. Think that we're great as a supplier. Classic 3-phase pain story. But the key is it's a story. People like to listen to stories. So you've got their attention by telling them a story, but also you're telling them how you help people and you're talking about the pain that you fixed. They can now go out and look for similar pains in other organizations and give them back to you as a referral. Simple as that. If you just tell people what you do, they can't do that translation into referrals. If you tell stories about how you help people, they can. It makes it so much easier. I guarantee, absolutely guarantee, that you will get more referrals if you start telling more stories. Fourth phase is what I need. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We are a referral networking organization, Network B2B. How many people can say, hand on heart, that they go to networking every single week and they ask for at least one referral every single week? Don't come out with these cop-out things of, "Oh, I'm not really looking for anything this week," which translates into, "I couldn't be bothered to think about a referral this week," or "I'm too busy at the moment, so I don't really need any business." Well, what about next week when you're not too busy? You need a referral then. So please, ask for referrals. We're going to talk about that in the next section. You need to be asking for referrals, not just on a regular basis, but every single opportunity. And then the final one is, we use technique in speaking called primacy and recency. People remember the first thing that you say, so the bold opening statement. They remember the last thing that you say, the summary and call to action. They probably don't remember the bit in the middle, which is a bit disappointing because that's what you want them to do. But the last bit, the call to action, is more about delivery. Most people's 60 seconds kind of crash and burn. They fizzle out a little bit. So that's kind of it from me, I think. I think I've done my 60 seconds. Yeah, that's probably enough. Thank you very much. And it's a bit of a burst balloon. Your bubble has burst. There's no emotion in that. So can I ask you, at the end of your 60 seconds, to hit them on a high? Give them a bit of excitement. Give them a bit of pizzazz. Give them a call to action. Give them permission to go out and do something for you, i.e. get some referral, but deliver it in a positive way, because that's the way they're going to remember your 60 seconds. If you deliver it in a fizzling out way, then potentially they're going to remember you as a fizzling out, less than inspiring speaker. So please try and put a bit of energy into the last bit so you get a very strong call to action and a very strong emotion from it. Whew. Nearly in the home straight now. Next one is referrals. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is probably one of, if not the biggest tripping point of why networking doesn't work. Because what I see is people get themselves nicely settled into a referral networking group and they think life is good. Here I am, sat in my networking group. Let the referrals flow in. Just by showing up every single week and saying hello to these good people, I'm going to get loads of referrals. It doesn't work like that. You need to put some effort into educating and guiding and cajoling and nurturing people along so that they give you a great stream of referrals. Don't just expect to get them, because you won't. So, challenges. First one is, nobody knows why people buy from you. I know I'm banging on about this today, and if you take one thing away from this session, and only one thing, it's this transition for talking about why people buy stuff from you. So nobody knows why people buy from you. Why not? Because you haven't flipping told them, that's why not. The next one is, nobody knows who your ideal, your perfect client is. Why do they know that? Because you haven't flipping told them, that's why not. So you might need to do a bit of a job in educating them in your 60 seconds as to who your ideal client is by telling a story about your ideal client, of course. And then the end result of that is, because we don't know why people buy from you, because we don't know who buys from you, we don't know who to look for on your behalf to get you great referrals. You need to be stronger in terms of education to help us along the way. It's not that the people in your networking group are stupid. I would not ever dare to say such a thing. But until you help them, until you educate them, then don't be surprised if they don't come back with enough referrals for you. It doesn't work. So how are we going to do it? Well, the first way is you should tell stories in 60 seconds. We've covered that already. Yeah, so we've covered stories in there. And the second one is we need to be clearer in our referral request. What do we mean by clearer? This is taken from a meeting that I attended a couple of weeks ago. These are some of the things that people asked for in referrals. You tell me whether you think these are clear or not. First one is, I'm looking for people who have problems with their HR. It was an HR consultant. Okay. Next one is, this is an accountant. I'm looking for people who pay too much tax. Can't put wrong teeth in. Next one is IFA. Oh, I'm sorry. If we've got any IFAs in the audience, I apologize in advance. I have a reputation for picking on IFAs. That's horribly wrong of me, but I do a lot of work supporting IFAs to make them better because it is quite challenging for IFAs sometimes. So I'm looking for people who have got multiple pensions. Starting to see a theme coming out in these now. I do this. I'm looking for people who want to buy this. Doesn't work. Because for me, I don't know who those people are. Look at the pensions one, for example. As I'm walking down the high street, wherever your networking meeting is, nobody's going to come and tap me on the shoulder and say, excuse me, young man, but I've got multiple pensions. Do you happen to know anybody who might be able to help me with that you could refer me to? Nobody's going to ask me that. Nobody is ever going to ask me that. I need to be educated as to how to spot people with multiple pensions. Here's one from a web developer. I'm looking for people with a website that doesn't convert. I'm not entirely sure I understand what it means. I think I probably do. So am I looking for a website that looks like it was designed on Windows 95 in the last millennium or something? Or is there something specific about a website that I can look for? Or is it just people saying? People are not going to ask me about that. So what do I need to look for it? And if you think I pick on other people, I'm going to pick on myself now. I'm looking for people who want more from networking. That's a stupid referral request, because we all want flipping more from networking, and hopefully you wonderful folk in the audience want more. That's why you've come along to the session here. So if they are not clear enough in terms of referral requests, how do we make our referral request clearer? Well, the good news is that there's only two different sorts of referrals. Nice and easy, yeah? Told you networking was easy, didn't I? So we've got specific ones and we've got indicator referrals. Let's talk about specific ones first. A specific referral has 5 components to it. The more of the 5 that you actually touch on and you deliver, the better the chances of you getting the referral. What I tend to see on a regular basis is people do the first one. So I'm looking for people this week who are in manufacturing. I'm looking for accountants this week. I'm looking to be referred to trainers this week. I'm looking for people in hospitality. That's all well and good, but our brains don't make connections on that level of detail. You need a bit, well, my brain certainly doesn't, I'm sure other people's don't as well. So you need to be a bit more of hand-holding to help people to get that logical connection. If you ask for an accountant, for example, I'm looking for a referral into accountant. Most of us, vast majority of us, have got an accountant. And we might think of our accountant, but we don't necessarily think about the range of other accountants that we know as well. We don't make that connection. So we need to do the rest of the 5 steps to get that connection. So the next one is I'm looking for something in a location. So if I use manufacturing as an example, I'm looking to be referred into manufacturing industries, specifically manufacturing industries in this particular location. I use the addresses like business parks, industrial parks, stuff like that. As soon as I mention a location, like a business park, you start to remember the last time you were there. It starts to make connections in your brain. And when you were there last time, you start to remember who you went to see. That might not be this company I'm going to ask for, but it could be a good referral for me. Or you might remember other people that you passed when you were driving there, because obviously you don't drive there with your eyes shut. Not everybody does. So you might remember seeing other organizations there that would be great referral opportunities for me. So by just telling you a location, I'm starting to build up a picture that helps you give me a referral. I am then going to give you the name of an organization or perhaps a couple of organizations in that particular venue there. I'm going to do a bit of research to find that out. I'm going to tell you my preferred role within the organization. So for me as a trainer, it would be learning and development, HR directors, or any sort of directors in the company tends to be the people that I target. So people know what sort of level position I'm looking for. And then the final one is I'm going to give you the name of the person who sits in that particular role, in that particular named organization, in that particular location, in that industry. That's it. And I know some of you are now thinking, that sounds like a lot of work, that, Chris. You expect me to do this every single networking meeting I go to? You expect me to do that amount of research to find that named person for every single thing? Yes, I do. Because it doesn't take that long at all. It takes me probably 30 seconds, a minute tops, to think of it. So I'll think of an industry that I want to be connected to, that I'm working with at the moment, that I want to expand to. I think about a location. I'll type that industry into the Google for a particular location. The Google will come back with a nice pretty map with some nice named organizations. I'll click on the organization, see whether it's one that kind of resonates and looks right for me. If it is the case, I'll go on to the LinkedIn. There's some LinkedIn stuff going on here today to be educated on. So I'll go on to LinkedIn, type the company name, find the people who are employees of that company. Job done. That's it. Simple as that, eh? I do that live as a demo. I'm not going to do it today, but I do that live as a demo. Honestly, it takes 30 seconds to get a specific referral like that. And I know some of you, perhaps people who are in B2C in particular, some of you are now thinking, yeah, that's all well and good, Chris, but I'm not looking for people in that specific way. Let me give you my friends, the IFAs, as a bit of an example. So I've been doing some work with some IFAs recently who say, frequently, I'm not looking for specific people. So my question to them is this. If I give you the name of the managing director at a particular manufacturing company in this location here, could you provide financial advice to that particular person? Yes, we could. They always say, yes, we could. Great. So why can't you ask for that person as a referral request then? Why can't you knock on that person's door and say, I'm a financial advisor, just wondered if you've got a relationship with somebody already, or would it be worthwhile having a chat? We do this, we do that, we do that. Why can't you ask for that sort of specific referral every single week? I think you probably can. And for most of us, we probably can. If you're in a purely B2C thing, it might be a bit more challenging. Come to that in a second. But for most of us, we can ask for specific referrals every single flipping week. It's not difficult to do. Go and do it. So if we can't do specific, or if you're really convinced that we can't do specific, then we need to use these things called indicator referrals. Indicator referrals go back to what I've been talking all the way through this presentation of stop saying, I'm a something, I'm looking for people who need a something. I'm a trainer, I'm looking for people who need training. I'm a health and safety consultant, I'm looking for people who want advice on health and safety. I'm an accountant, I'm looking for people who need an accountant. Stop saying that, because it's flipping obvious, yeah? We know that that's what you're looking for, but we need to know how to spot people who need the particular things. The indicator referral thing, apparently urban myth has it, comes from an electrician. An electrician was getting a bit annoyed that he didn't get enough out of networking, so he sent his troops, the rest of his networking group, away and said, when you're out and about, before COVID, when you're out and about in businesses, look up at the ceiling, tell me if you can see a light bulb that's out. If you see a light bulb that's out, get your phone, take a picture of the light bulb, send me the address, send me the picture. I'll work out what sort of light bulb it is. I'll go knock on the door and say, you've got a light bulb out. I'm here to fix it for free. It opened masses of doors for the electrician. And guess what happened? When he was in there, they said, oh, by the way, can you fix that plug socket over there? Can you put some network points in over there? Can you do a bit of a rewiring job over there? Loads of opportunities. Just because people knew what to look for. Again, Jason covered this very eloquently this morning. I'm not going to try and compete with that. Look for the pain. Your clients, people buy for two reasons. They buy for pain, they buy for pleasure. Most of our clients in business buy for pain. They want a pain fixed. It might be a pain in the present, so a problem they've got now. It might be a pain on the horizon, something that they see coming up. But ultimately, they buy to fix a pain. You need to tell us in our networking group what those pains are so we can look for pains in our client base, and then when we see them, refer you in to fix them. That's it. Yeah, referrals flipping easy. You can do that, no bother, I am sure. So, final one. Final one is follow-up. This is a classic reason why networking doesn't work. Because what people think is that when you go to a networking meeting, so you're going to be part of a referral group, and you go and sit there for an hour and a half every single morning, once a week or whatever, and you think that that's where the magic is. I'm going to networking, there's networking magic goes on here, really great. No, it isn't. The magic of networking tends to take place outside of the room. So the first bit of magic is at the start, doing your preparation, making sure you're prepared, making sure you've got a great 60 seconds lined up, making sure you've got great referral requests lined up. That's the first bit of magic. But more importantly, certainly equally as importantly, at the end of it, you need to put a bit of research in. So when people are asking for specific named people in referral requests, if you think, okay, so Chris has asked for Fred Smith, the managing director, XYZ manufacturing company. If you think, I don't know who Fred Smith is, so I'm off the hook. I don't have to give him that referral because I don't know who that person is. You're not off the flipping hook, because what I want you to do, what I'd love you to do, is outside the room, go and do a bit of research to see who you know who might know Fred Smith. You don't know him. Who do you know who does know him? I'm sure you've heard of this thing called 6 degrees of separation. What it means is that we are 6 or less steps away from anybody on the good Lord's planet that you want to be connected to. I have done I do lots of live demos, don't I? I've done live demos on LinkedIn of this in the past, and it flipping works. So sometimes you say, okay, who do you want to be connected to? Somebody will say, Her Majesty the Queen. That one's a bit challenging because she's not on LinkedIn, Her Majesty. But if you think of people in business, then you normally get things like, I want to be connected to Lord Sugar. That one's flipping easy, because I've done quite a lot of work with ex-apprentice candidates. So I'm probably 2 steps away from Lord Sugar. Please, I don't want a flood of requests at the end. Will you introduce me to Lord Sugar, please, Chris? Although I was sent a spread in a newspaper with Lord Sugar once, but that's a story for another time. So 6 degrees separation is, you might know somebody who knows Fred Smith, the managing director I'm after. Or you might know somebody who knows somebody else. It gets a bit more tenuous the further you get down. But ultimately, if say you've got a network of just 100 people, I'm sure it's bigger than that, network of 100 people, and you don't know Fred Smith, if you ask all of those people, each who've got a network of 100 people, 100 times 100 is a much bigger number than 100 of people that might know Fred Smith. That's how networking works. That's when networking really starts to fly, when you put that little bit of research and that bit of effort into turning people's referral requests into something. So if you are connected to me on LinkedIn, you will probably be asked by me on a regular basis saying, will you help me get a referral into this, whatever. That's how networking works, and that's how it transforms into something wonderful, a work of wonderment. And that's it. That's networking in a flipping nutshell. Let us very briefly recap. You need to have a plan. Go to networking knowing specifically something that you can measure, because remember, if you cannot measure it, you cannot manage it. So something that you can measure that you will get out of networking, so you can check along the way to make sure you're on track. You need to go to networking meetings prepared. Please don't show up with all of these excuses about, oh, I haven't had time to do it. It doesn't take very long. It really does not. Creating 60 seconds should take you a few minutes. Doing a referral request should take you less than a minute. Dead easy to do. Please put a bit of effort into it. You'll get more out of it if you do. You should have an effective 60 seconds. So do 60 seconds if you want. There is some stuff in the handouts. You look in the handouts. There's some ebooks in there. One of them is about delivering 60 seconds. You can follow my methodology if you want. Try it. See if it works. See what difference it makes. Give it a whirl. If you're not sure, come back and ask me and I'll talk you through it. We don't ask for enough referrals. Again, we should have now given you an idea of how to ask for referrals. And I'm sure you're sick of me telling you that you have to ask for referrals on a regular basis every single week. And then finally, you need to do a bit of stuff outside the room. How about this for an idea? When you go to a networking meeting, block out half an hour of time after the meeting's finished to do your follow-up. Because the longer you leave it, the more it's less likely to happen. If you go to a network meeting on a Thursday morning and you end up on Wednesday night going, oh no, I haven't done my prep for networking tomorrow, it gets a bit of a chore and gets in the way a bit. So please try and do it quickly and get it out of the way and done. And my final slide, and I don't make any apologies for this slide, is, as I've told you before, networking is not difficult. It's not flipping rocket science. However, nodding your head in agreement and going, oh yes, Chris, I understand what you're talking about, Chris. Yeah, I get that, Chris. That sounds nice and easy and straightforward, is phase 1. Phase 2 is doing something about it. Because if you don't do anything about it, then you will still be one of the casualties of networking who bumbles their way through, not getting the rewards that you could potentially getting, and very definitely you should be getting. That's it from me. There's my contact details if you feel so inclined. I'm now going to try and be really good and get back to discuss. Ooh. There we go. Let me just, excuse me a second while I just try and read through some of these. Do you feel this works the same for charities? That's a really good question. Volunteer too. That's an unusual name. Volunteer too. I like that. Yes, it does work for charities. I see charities in our networking groups all over the place asking for specific referrals. I think is a really great way for charities because why not? Yeah, you don't. There's no guarantee. If you get a referral into an organisation, there is no guarantee that you're going to get that business from it. But I can guarantee that if you don't ask them, you're never going to get any business from it. So you might as well try it. Throw some names of some organisations out there. Throw some names of the people in control who look after charitable donations, and knock on their door. You will be surprised how few people do actually make the effort and knock on their door. They might put a letter through the phone box or something. So yes. Very definitely. I do believe that it works for charities, yes. I do worry that I'm boring people. I'm sure you're not boring people. That would never be the case. No. Average attention span is less than that of a goldfish. Are you talking about my attention span here, Martin? And you're probably right, as it happens. But yes, attention span of a goldfish, yeah. Emails coming in, yeah. Yes, I'd like an introduction to Lord Sugar. Get lost, Phil Morton. You're not having an introduction to Lord Sugar because he's very selective of the type of people that Lakey wants to be connected to. And you might not be one of them. So thank you for that, Phil. Good. Presentation, thank you. Some good tips there. Thank you very much. Mark says, I missed this session. Was it good? No, it was shocking. Absolutely terrible. Don't know why anybody would come along to these sort of sessions. Thank you very much for missing my session, Mark Gordon. You know where your buddies are, don't you? I think that's probably about it. Has anybody else got any other questions? Have I missed anything in terms of questions? Sorry, there's a lot of things in the chat box here, and I'm trying to multitask, and I'm a bloke. I cannot multitask. So I think we're about done. So I'm hanging around for a while. I'm on the platform for the rest of the day. If you would like to come and grab a chair in the lounge, chew the cud, ask a few questions about networking, I'd be very, very pleased to help you if I possibly can. If you'd like to have a one-to-one and have a conversation offline, discuss something in a bit more detail, then I would love to do that as well. I think that's probably it from me. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Really enjoyed that. Hope you did so. And I shall see you all again very, very soon. Enjoy supersonic networking from here. Bye for now.